Welcome to Her Own Narrative. Another episode, another story. This time with an amazing woman and an inspiration and a half. Jo, a cancer survivor, confidence collective coach, guide for women navigating menopause. Her journey is one of resilience, healing, and I want to just say it, glass half full.
I call myself a stage 4 cancer thriver, not a patient, because I live every day. I don't class myself as sick. I class myself as, well, as we say in the cancer world, I have a life-limiting illness, but I basically make the most of it.
So you're trying to tell me that your weight loss journey as well as a menopausal woman all starts from your mindset.
Oh, completely.
Nothing else.
As long as you track everything, including if they're going to have the drink, because that is, 7 calories for 1 gram of alcohol. It's up there with fat, it's one of the highest. As long as you're responsible and you track it and you're aware of what you're doing, then you're still going to be winning. And it's just changing and understanding. I say we just need to dial in the science. Once you know the science behind it, then you're winning.
Welcome to Her Own Narrative. Another episode, another story. This time with an amazing woman and an inspiration and a half. Jo, a cancer survivor, confidence collective coach, guide for women navigating menopause. Her journey is one of resilience, healing, and I want to just say it, glass half full. Thank you for being here, Jo.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Let's delve into it straight. We've had 5 minutes of a little catch up, and I regret not pressing record button then. So let's go and start all over again.
So, first of all, I think it's a little bit obvious by my headscarf that obviously I live in the cancer world. I call myself a stage 4 cancer thriver, not a patient, because I live every day. I don't class myself as sick. I class myself as, well, as we say in the cancer world, I have a life-limiting illness, but I basically make the most of it. And I make the most of, living every day with joy, as like I say. So I started off with my original diagnosis was in 2021 with primary breast cancer. And I lived in Dubai at the time. I was a teacher and an assistant head teacher, but I lived in chronic stress. Being a teacher in Dubai is actually tougher than being a teacher in the UK, believe it or not. And so as soon as I had my diagnosis, I returned to the UK and basically just my life for 10 years had just been turned upside down and inside out. And I landed back at my mum's and went through all the treatments and finished everything in 2022. I returned to teaching, but this time, rather than being a PE teacher, I went into special needs. I needed to have a greater purpose. Having a purpose is really important. And it's something that I still try and have even today. So I loved my job as a special needs teacher, working in a lovely little school in Wakefield. I'm from Yorkshire. But cut to 2024, the summer, and I was having lots of chest pains and things. And I was firstly diagnosed with chronic PTSD, as I'd not really healed emotionally and mentally from the shock of cancer. As I explained to you, I've lived in the cancer world or been surrounded by cancer since I was 7 years old. So my biggest fear had come true. In July of 2024, I was diagnosed with stage 4 incurable breast cancer. My cancer had also changed. Originally, I was estrogen receptive, where there's a lot of options with treatment. And a lot of women, last 15 plus years. When I was re-diagnosed, I was told I have triple negative breast cancer, and it was in my ribs, in my bones. Triple negative is a very aggressive form of cancer, and unfortunately, the amount of treatments that are available are a lot less. So statistically, most women, 5 years, if you're lucky. I'm striving to go 6 because I always want to push that extra boundary.
Did I not say she's special? This woman is special.
So I've been in treatment now for 18 months, and I'm on a new type of treatment. In the summer, I lost the ability to use my arm. I had some break of original treatments I tried, let's just say holistic therapies, which doesn't work for all types of cancer, unfortunately. And the cancer had progressed to my liver and my lungs and further in my body. But I'm on a new type of treatment now, and I feel I'm walking again, have the use of my arm again. I'm no longer limping. I thought I'd be in a wheelchair or on a stick soon, but I have, with the bone strengtheners and the treatment, I'm really, really lucky. And I get to still be here. And as a result of no longer obviously being able to teach, I set up my little business online, which I call the Confidence Collective. And I'm, the founder and the head coach. And basically, it originally started out as I am a qualified PE teacher and PT, trying to help women, just lose weight and feel better. But I knew that there was more to that and there was more needed. So as I've, evolved the business and learnt more and more, I've gone down quite the mindset route of helping women feel more empowered, women feel confident, changing that mindset of not having that self-belief and that self-worth, and just the work that I've done on myself and the experts that I've worked with over the years that have helped me. I now use that to, bring forward and help women just feel the most fabulous selves. And that is now my purpose.
What a purpose. Like, this is amazing. Absolutely amazing. I do believe that everybody should have a purpose, but somebody with having a purpose from her own, like, you know what? There are a lot of people out there who unfortunately, who are struggling and who are diagnosed with cancer and they're battling cancer on a daily basis. But this much positivity I have not seen. Let's go into mindset. We just spoke about. So coaching women for their mindset, positive mindset. I'm just going to, where do you get it from? It starts with you. You can't coach someone for a positive mindset if you don't have one. And you are amazing.
If I'm being honest, growing up in like the 80s, 45 and a half. That half matters when you've got stage 4. So growing up in the 80s and the 90s, I was always very aware of how women were perceived and how women spoke to themselves. And God bless my mum. She tried every diet. I remember once I went to the camp and I came home. We had a microwave and I was like, what's that for, Mum? She went, I'm doing the egg diet. An egg diet. I'm like, so, I'm aware of my mum doing all these fad things. And I still see my mum saying, oh, I'm fat. I'm like, you're 63 and you are fabulous. What woman at 63 struts around in high heels and skinny jeans? That's all I'm going to say. So I was very apparent and witnessed being around, teaching is very female dominated as well, and how women perceive themselves and speak to themselves. And it always bothered me. I'd like to say I've always been quite the feminist. And then when I started working, building my business and started with clients, I used to see the way that clients were messaging me and speaking about themselves. And then I just started I said, we're not going to speak like that anymore. So I started picking up and changing the narrative, saying, right, I want you to try this instead of this. And so my original business, I was called Joe Mason Wellness, which I just think is very boring. And so I just knew I needed it to evolve. And it's just basically, it's my clients that inspired me and my clients that gave me the tools to think there's more to this. I'm doing more than just being an online coach. And it's evolved that way. And without my clients choosing me, I'm the one that's lucky that they choose me. Without, these fabulous ladies choosing me to help them, the business and I wouldn't have evolved the way we are. And I pick friends up on it now. I pick my mum constantly up on it. I'm like, come on. She's called Pat. When I'm angry, I'm like, Pat. She knows that she's in trouble. So it's just evolved over time. And it's everything I've felt. I'm a very confident person myself, and I'm so lucky that I have this inner confidence, and I have done the work. I've worked with life coaches in the past, and a lot of, people think that confidence is about the exterior, and it's not. It's about your value. It's about your values, your morality, your integrity. And once you have that solid perspective of who you are internally, externally, we're always going to be changing, growing, shrinking, lumps, bumps, having surgeries, aging. That doesn't define our confidence. Our confidence comes from who we are truly on the inside. And when you truly have a good hold and a good grasp of who you are and truly believe in yourself and like the person that you are, well, then your confidence just shines through.
Absolutely right. You said if you like the person you are, you look in the mirror and you say, you know what, I actually like who I'm seeing. That's where the confidence comes from. Unfortunately, we don't always have it. And we might be born with it, because I don't think nobody is not born with confidence, because you don't know any other thing. But over time, your surroundings, your circumstances, your environment, your people, everything changes something in you. You said something very interesting, that you actually pick on words people talk about themselves.
Completely.
Give me an example. What is something which you come across as women? We love this.
Yes.
We as women, we are experts in this.
Yes. The main one is the should. I should be doing this. Who says? I always say one of the main things is that women, we are so inherently trying to be perfect based on the stupid standards set by society, media, and a lot of this, unfortunately, is created by men.
Yep.
And, the patriarchy. And it's not that I'm a feminist and all this, but it's just, let's be real, because this is what it is. So a lot of women believe that they should be doing this. And a lot of women come to me and say, I must have all my ducks in a row. Do you own any ducks? So how do you have to get them in a row? You don't own them. What you say you should be doing, is that actually what you could be doing? Is it going to make you happy? In any relationship or family, there's a mummy and a daddy. But mummy thinks that she needs to do it all. She thinks that she should do it all. And she thinks that it's her responsibility, when actually 9 times out of 10, the dad will pick up the slack as well. So I often say women, well, I should have done this. I should have hit my nutrition goal. I should have hit my step count. And we have what we call push and pull days inside the Confidence Collective. On the push days, we do go hard and, life works in our favour. But on the push days, we can only dial in one thing. And that key thing is 80% of the equation. That's your nutrition. So you can dial in your nutrition, always in control of that. Whether you get everything else done, it doesn't matter, because you're still winning with the nutrition. So the all or nothing mindset, thinking that you must go to the gym, I should go to the gym, I should be hitting my nutrition, I should be doing my steps. And then normally, because that doesn't work, then they fall off the wagon and think, well, I failed anyway. No, not at all. If you still focus on your nutrition, even on the tough days, my darling, that's 80% of the equation. You're still absolutely winning. And, all my ladies with the push-pull theory that we use, they're still, even on a bad week, what they class as a bad week, where they've just been busy, they're still losing, they're still achieving, they're still doing well. And I have some ladies, how they talk to themselves now. I had a lady this morning, she's like, she's had such an important job, but how she speaks to herself and how she speaks about herself and what she's achieved has completely changed within the last month. There's no should anymore. She knows that I'm still winning. I did nutrition yesterday. It was a pull day. I know I've still done a good thing, and I know I'm still on track.
So basically giving yourself a pat on your back for
Yeah.
every little thing. Don't pull yourself back for one thing you didn't do.
Yeah.
Let's
Focus
actually
on
what you
achieve.
did.
And I always say, be proud.
Yes.
Be proud of what you've done. Yeah, okay, you may have had a bad day in your mind, but I say, actually, well, define me what a bad day is. And, well, I could have done this. Well, no, you think you should have done. But actually, this is what you did do. And it's just having, within the first normally 2 or 3 weeks of these conversations, voice notes, telephone calls, whatever it is I have with my clients, their mindset just starts changing. And when I get the feedback forms when we're doing the weekly check-ins, and a lot of them say, my old mindset would have said this, but now I'm saying this. And I know I'm still winning. And I know I've had a great week.
So you're trying to tell me that your weight loss journey as well as a menopausal woman all starts from your mindset.
Oh, completely.
Nothing else.
If you dial in the mindset and understand that, I'll give you a prime example. Obviously, I'm stage 4. I have bone mets. I can't lift weights anymore. Treatment has been quite vicious to me over time. Both times I've gone from a size 10 to a size 16. This year, I knew I had to address the emotional eating and the sugar addiction, which I did. And so through walking and just nutrition, I lost 3.5 stone. So it's not what I should be doing. It's me being kind to myself. And I use what I've achieved as a massive example. So ladies think that they hate going to the gym. They don't want to go to the gym. I'm like, well, we're not going to go to the gym then. Let's lean into what you enjoy. And when we lean into what they enjoy, and it's not about the goal, we create a system. And by creating a system that brings you joy, that you're happy with, and is not a bolt onto your life, it's something that works in your life, then a byproduct of creating that system and leaning into what works for you and what you enjoy, well, then the byproduct is the weight loss anyway.
So what do you tell the woman who doesn't like to go to the gym?
Let's not go to the gym.
And how do you work out?
We look at her daily movements. We look at her steps. I might say, well, let's challenge the steps. Let's put, a woman only you need to do 8,000 steps and have good nutrition. The key thing here isn't the gym. The gym will give you about 5% of what you need to burn in a day. Actually, what you need to focus on is that nutrition. And if you get the nutrition right, and people think, I've had a biscuit, I've failed. No, just track it. You can, if you want to eat pizza. As long as you don't go over your calories, you're still going to be in that calorie deficit. And sometimes when we want to, go outpin and be a social hand grenade, we can bank the calories in advance. And that's what some of my ladies do. They lower their calories in the week and have a wonderful weekend, and they still have a great social life, you know, and they don't think, oh, I failed. No. Through the week, the calories, you know, we maintain that deficit. As long as you track everything, including if they're going to have the drink, because that is, you know, 7 calories for 1 gram of alcohol. It's up there with fat. It's one of the highest. As long as you're responsible and you track it and you're aware of what you're doing, then you're still going to be winning. And it's just changing and understanding. I say we just need to dial in the science. Once you know the science behind it, then you're winning.
So deficit is equal to weight loss, but it's collective. It's not on daily basis.
No,
so if you've had a bad day, it doesn't mean you failed.
No.
You can go and make up for it.
There's no such thing as a bad day. It's just some days are challenging, some days are more work in our favour. So on a challenging day, we keep it simple. We dial in what we can. If we go over the calories, then we'll pull it back. It's fine. There's always a plan. We never fail. And I don't use the word fail. And I hate the word fail. And the word perfection or perfect does not exist in my vocabulary or inside the Confidence Collective at all.
I'm in love with this woman, by the way, just on record. You know what? It's very interesting. What you just said is about nutrition. It's about having that mindset.
Yeah.
And do you think somewhere it's about having that priority?
It doesn't have to be a priority. A lot of people think when they're wanting to be on, I'm not going to say all my clients are weight loss clients because I have strength clients as well. If a woman comes to me and wants to crack walnuts with her backside, I am all for teaching a woman how to lift weights and things like that. But majority of women do want to lose weight, especially menopausal, because our hormones work against us and there's such massive changes. And I do help women that have been in treatment and have, you know, their weight's ballooned because of being on the steroids and all that and the emotional eating. So it's about just being aware of, you know, people think that they have to quit sugar or they have to quit things. You don't have to quit anything. You can still enjoy the food you love. It's not about restriction because that will lead to failure. It's about moderating and it's about education. Being a former teacher, you know, education is a massive part of what I do. So when I find, you know, when I do a big check, we do our check-ins on a Saturday or a Wednesday in the Confidence Collective, never after the weekend, because you're always going to have a weight fluctuation and feel that 5 seconds does not reflect your 7 days of hard work. So we do it midweek or before the beginning of the weekend with Savvy. So, you know, ladies feel like they've got something to celebrate. So, so when we do the check-ins and everything else, it's just being aware. And when my ladies have faced issues, what I do, I give them the opportunity to select a topic of education and they vote. And then I do what I call a team teach, and I take that topic and I create an education format for them, based so they can understand stress, you know, how stress affects our weight fluctuations, what causes weight fluctuations, looking at the carbohydrates, the sugar and the alcohol. What, you know, it's the season of being sick. So how being ill can cause issues with our weight fluctuations and that sort of thing. So education is so, so important. And part of that now is I've just about to record a full curriculum on mindset and the different stages that my ladies will go through in relation to their confidence. So I think I've got about 20 lessons to record.
I love it. You touched upon emotional eating, and I did see that on your Instagram as well, on your handle. You spoke about emotional eating at one point as well. How do you manage that?
So emotional eating, I want to be clear that emotional eating and binge eating are two different things. Binge eating often is obviously related to potential eating disorders. That is not an expertise of mine, and that's where professional help is needed. Emotional eating is when we're triggered, we reach for the sugary snacks and salty snacks. And often, as we say, you know, it isn't us actually needing something to feed us. We're not hungry. We're looking to comfort our nervous system. So one of the key things, you know, I had to address my emotional eating when my chemo failed in February. And I know why it failed. And I don't blame myself, but I was a sugar addict and I was eating my emotions. The PTSD from cancer and everything else was really, really tough. And so, you know, I'm not going to lie, we've been on the steroids. I would order a 14-inch pizza. Then I would have a Ben & Jerry's with minstrels on top. And that would be I knew it was on Tuesday because that's when my chemo steroid munchies were the worst. So things that I introduced to myself now I use my ladies, and I call it the 5-minute pause. And in that 5 minutes, rather than just instantly react, we're going to respond instead. There's a massive difference between reacting and responding. And we can apply this to everything in life.
Everything in life, yeah.
So rather than reacting and just reaching, snacking, and probably regretting, what we do now is we'll give it a 5-minute pause and see 2 simple questions. Am I hungry, or am I trying to feed my emotions? And you can try a third question. What do I need right now? So if, after that 5-minute pause, if you are hungry, then you're going to be more mindful and make yourself something a bit healthier to eat. If then you realise that you are feeding your emotions, well, then you go to question 3. What do I need right now? And a lot of that, it can be originally, to begin with, start journaling, identify your triggers. Is it something at home? Is it something at work? Is it something with a member of the family? And being aware of your triggers and how you react, not respond. And once you can identify that, then you can start putting the right things in place. So, it doesn't happen overnight.
Oh, that was my next question. That was my next question. I was like, okay, that sounds very good theoretically,
it
but
is a process.
Yeah.
But, my ladies, what I say is lean into me. This is why I'm here. So, I have ladies going, right, I'm having a bad day or things are not working. This is what I want to do. I'm like, right, well, how are you going to feel if you do that? And then we talk through it. By that point, that 5-minute pause, they've leaned into me. It's already gone. Now, obviously, they're working with me and I'm their coach. In real life, when you're trying to do this on your own, it does take time. And to think, I tried it once and I failed. No, you can't do that. Just start journaling, start identifying, go out for a walk and reflect. As women, we push and go. We don't give ourselves enough time to stop and think, what is it that I need? There's so many demands on us from home life, work, kids, partners, that we don't give ourselves enough time, where just removing yourself from the situation, the wonders of a 10-minute walk can create a whole different mindset. And just getting out of the house, if you're able to, or going upstairs, sitting on the toilet sometimes, being in the bath, having that pause and just giving yourself time to think and reflect, that is a massive, massive tool in your arsenal, I say. But it is a process and it does take time. And, it's not perfection, it's practice.
It's practice. And
Practice over perfection.
I think it's so, it's very, very, it's everything to do with mindset, because I'm a go person. I do not stop. And somewhere, I think subconsciously, you kind of take pride in that method. And you're like, I don't stop. I don't this. Like, what are you trying to, what are you proving? It's a burnout for myself. Nobody else is going to say anything about it.
And the hardest thing is to stop and ask for help. But when you actually stop and ask for help, I would say 70-80% of the time, that help is there. And people say, well, you've always done it and we thought you were all right doing it. And we say, actually, no. Then people will step in and give you that help. That was probably one of my biggest challenges in life. I was always that go person. When I was out teaching in Dubai, I set up a little swimming school and then I trained to be a personal trainer. I was still working a full-time job as a PE teacher, assistant head teacher. I'd finish work and then go teach swimming or go train people. And that was, it was my badge of honor. But I didn't realize I burnt myself out. That was the second time I burnt myself out. And that's when I was diagnosed with cancer. And there's a massive link between stress and chronic stress and chronic illnesses. I'm not saying if you're stressed, you're going to get cancer. That's not the case. But I was just...
There is a correlation.
There is a correlation. There's a lot of research out there, but it's not a definitive that's going to happen. But I do believe that chronic stress was a massive contributor to my original diagnosis. And it's just, being aware that our bodies are not built for the demands of the 21st century. That fight or flight was if we're going to be chased by a tiger. We're not meant to live in chronic stress. Your cortisol levels are not meant to be chronically high all the time. And if they are, there are going to be repercussions and your health will take an impact, whether it's your physical or your mental health. So to stop and actually physically ask for help of those around you that can support you, it's a massive tool. And 9 times out of 10, it will work in your favour. We don't get badges of honour for pushing ourselves too much.
Ask for help, ladies.
Ask for help.
It's
please.
Okay to ask for help.
Yes.
Starts with us.
It does. It starts with the mindset.
Yes. So it's great. I understand that you've got to start with your mindset, and it's important because most of us are in that, especially as you grow older as well. It's that pride. It's that It's that, why am I going to ask? I can do it all.
Yeah.
What's the root cause of this? Where is this coming from?
Probably how we were brought up and a lot of our behavior. I saw something really interesting. I read a piece, I can't remember where I read the research, but it says, children don't copy the way that other people speak to us. Children copy how we speak to ourselves. So I was brought up by very strong women, my grandma, my mum, and my aunt. My mum is a force. She's 63 and she does not stop. That's where I got it from. My mum is a worker bee and I was brought up to be a worker bee. And, we just keep going. And I tell my mum off, I'm going, please stop, please calm down. And then she thinks I'm getting onto her. And I'm not, but I just need her to calm. She's 63, She is a force of nature, but that's how if this is what your role models are, then this is exactly what we do.
What you're going to become.
How we behave, how we act, how we speak to ourselves, how we think. That is basically the role model and the carbon copy and the benchmark that's set for us. And that's what we do moving forward.
It's the learned behavior.
Completely.
You can keep telling the child whatever you want to tell, but they will actually do exactly how you're behaving.
Yes.
Eventually, when we hear ourselves, especially the women our age now, we hear ourselves say, oh my gosh, I'm becoming my mom. Oh my gosh, when I'm talking, I think like it's my mom. And every one of us, each one of us say that now.
Completely.
And when you're younger, you think, oh no, I'm not going to become like that. Nothing wrong with you, mom, but we all want to be something different, right?
Yeah.
But eventually you turn into your mom.
Completely. I like to say now, I'm a Pat 2.0 because I have had to take that step back where she is still a force, bless her. But, and even when she's retired, she went, I'm still going to have a part-time job. She cannot stop because she still, like me, has to have a purpose.
See, part of me, I feel that's important as well
Yeah.
for your mental stimulation and to keep going, because the minute you stop,
Yeah.
everything else starts
Yeah.
creeping in.
Completely.
So there is an element that you got to have mental stimulation, you got to have physical stimulation, you got to be having something going on in your life. You can't just sit there and say, oh, I'm at this age now, so that's it, my life's going to stop. But at the same time, go is not really helping. And that's what Joe is about.
Completely. So pull it back. The push, the pull. Let's pull it back.
Yeah. So, if you had to pick a very, very, very difficult woman who is set in her ways and the mindset is the most challenging thing right now, how would you approach that?
It's not about one big goal. If you create one big massive goal, then you're setting someone up to fail. It's about creating the mini goals. It's about, you see all these pictures all over social media, the small baby steps. The power of one baby step is far much greater than one leap. One leap, people won't potentially reach that distance, but one baby step, just a few centimeters in the right direction. So it's about setting small achievable goals. So I'll give you an example. It's cold and flu season. So a lot of my ladies this past few weeks, especially with the kids being off school, they all got quite sick, quite a lot of them. And so they were going, oh, I can't make it to the gym. I can't do this. And as a result of not being able, we pulled it all back. We focused on the nutrition. The kids are back at school, the ladies are back at work and saying, oh, this week I'm going to go to the gym 3 times. I'm like, you're not going to achieve that. You're setting yourself up for fail. I said, right, we're going to dial in the nutrition. That's going to be the key priority throughout the 7 days. What we're also going to do now is one day this week, you're going to get to the gym, but it's not going to be till the end of the week. Let's focus on the steps and improving some of that movement. Towards the end of the week, you let me know what day that you want to go to the gym, and I'll create a prompt on their program. Or I'll be saying, are we going to the gym today? What's happening today? And I'll be that prompt for them, because when it comes to behavior, you need to be aware that behavior equals motivation, ability, and prompt. So you have to make sure that you've got all that there as well for them. So, the prompt's either there on the program or that I'm the prompt. Normally, I'm there with my cattle prod. Not really.
But you need it. They say, isn't it?
Yeah.
I need somebody to push me.
Yeah. So it's about that once. And I'll say, okay, this week we're going to do it once. Next week, do you want to go twice? Yeah, I'm ready to go. And by that first week, then they're already starting to win. And again, it's that progression. When a lot of women tend to fail when they're trying to achieve, whether it's strength goals or weight loss goals. I hate focusing just on weight loss because women are not just about weight loss, but it is a great example. So, you know, a lot of women tend to fail because they think Monday, I'm going to do my nutrition, I'm going to get to the gym, and they try and do everything all at once, and it's overwhelming. And in your current life, that's not going to work because you're creating all these bolt-ons in addition to just trying to function as a normal human with your daily demands. What we need to do is we need to pull it back and say, what is the most important? So some ladies start with me and they're ready to start the gym 3 times a week. They're already, they've got that momentum and they just need that a little bit of extra support from me. It may be nutrition, but they love the gym and they're going for it. A lot of ladies who start with me may have never even done anything like me. And I'm like, the first thing we're going to look at is always nutrition. And we build things up over maybe a month. You know, and not all ladies want to go to the gym and they don't go to the gym. We just build up the steps and that movement and we just capitalize and lean into what's going to work for them. And by doing that, and they start to see the results of, oh my God, you know, I didn't do everything I thought I should do this week, but I've dialed in what Joe said and I've lost still like 1 or 2 pounds. I mean, to lose 2 pounds in a week, by the way, is massive. Yeah. You know, you should aim to aim 1, maximum 1.5. So if you're doing anything along that lines, it's just about being consistent and repeating it. And losing weight is boring. You've got to keep doing the same thing over and over again. And, you know, it's about making them aware of that. Yeah, you're going to get bored of it, but it's still the recipe for success. So let's just rinse and repeat and let's keep moving forward.
You know what I'm thinking here? Whatever you're saying is everybody tells you all that stuff for your business. Yeah, consistency. Yeah, take small steps.
Yes.
Keep going.
Yes.
Have mini goals.
Yes.
But when you come out about weight loss and about nutrition and about physical body and strength building, usually people will tell you, you have to have 1 liter, 2 liters of water. You have to have nutrition right. You have to, which is absolutely right. But it is overwhelming because one day I'll do it all. Yeah. Next day I am, what do I do? I haven't had a sip of water today. I haven't done my nutrition today.
One thing as well that, you know, a lot of where I've worked with coaches in the past, and one of the reasons I've developed the Confidence Collective is I became the coach that I needed. When I've gone through certain things. So, you know, I've meal prepped like an Olympic athlete and lived out of Tupperware. And, you know, I'd spend my Friday nights spending 3 hours. You don't need to do that. You can make the same meal for yourself as your family. You know, you just have to be aware of your portion size. Yeah, you got to weigh it. But I always say this, for you to achieve your goal, we're going to create this temporary situation. Once we've gone through the temporary situation, a lot of the habits are going to stick anyway. And you're all going to be reading. And then once you've achieved your goal, I'm out of the equation anyway. And you've already got that recipe for success and you know what to do. If you have to come back to me, that means I failed you in an education perspective and support, and you didn't learn it the right way. So that's on me.
Once a teacher, always a teacher.
Always. And you know, it's about teaching people what to do and the right way. So I still have clients that I keep in touch with, and they're going, "Oh, you know, gained a few pounds, had a great time on holiday. I'm doing this, this, and this." I'm like, "I taught you well. That's all that needs to happen."
That's absolutely amazing. Absolutely love every single part of it, and also somebody actually saying, hang on a second, it's okay if you're not achieving all of them in day 1 or day 2 or day 3 or even every single day. It's all right to slack. It's okay. You don't have to be in the gym 3 times a week. It's all right to have not the perfect amount of water in your body every single day. It's ideal. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. It's ideal, but you can't. As a human being, we slack.
Yeah. And it's just about, you know, owning it and thinking, what went well today? What can I learn from today to move forward? And every opportunity where things haven't gone right is an opportunity to learn and grow. There's no such thing as good and bad. There's growth and there's improvement. And that obviously comes from my teacher days as well.
I love it. You said something very interesting and which always gets me, because most of the women I speak to, their purpose is out of their own pain. So you said you became the coach you wanted.
Oh my
you
God.
once wanted.
Yes.
Right? And it's so interesting that we are looking for something and we don't find it. We find the gap and we create it. So most women businesses are created from what they couldn't find, even if it's a baby wear. You know, I'm looking for something for my baby and I can't find it, so I'm going to go and create it, right? It's a gap we actually, and that's probably a very, I don't know, is it the intuitive sense in women who look for it and then they think, wow, if I needed it, someone else needs it.
Yeah, I think so. I started out, the main reason I built my business was I knew I couldn't stay in teaching because of my health and my situation. And I always remember I worked with this one particular coach and I paid him a lot of money. And in Dubai, you pay a lot of money for coaches. And I could never get hold of him. He would only do a weigh-in and he wouldn't communicate. And, I was paying £300 a month. A month. I mean, I could afford it back then. Life was good out there. But I never forget that now. And now I say to my ladies, you can contact me 7 days a week. The only time that I'm not going to respond is if it's probably after 8 o'clock at night or if I'm in bed. But, we have WhatsApp groups and the ladies support one another. So, but I will always be there for my ladies. And if I can see that something's not right when I'm reading a message or listening to a voice note, I'll be like, are you free? Let's jump on a call. And I'll instantly get in there because you can't leave women to stew on things.
No, we know that's a recipe for disaster.
A lot of what actually we create as women is not actually the reality. It's our perception of what's happening.
That's right.
And we cause a lot of extra stress for ourselves. So I try and step in as quick as I can so that doesn't happen. And, I had a lady just last week, she had a couple of days, she was injured and she said, I've gone over, it's been a nightmare, blah, 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 blah. So I went back and I went over the 7-day period and I calculated all the calories. I said, actually, you haven't gone over by thousands. You've not gained 2 pounds. To gain 2 pounds, I went for the science, that would be 10,500 calories that you would have had to eat and additionally over a 7-day. You've tracked actually correctly. And actually, all you've gone over from your calorie deficit is 132. And when I did the maths for her and put it all there, she's like, oh, thank you so much.
Did she instantly feel lighter?
She instantly felt lighter. And then I said, but we're having a weight fluctuation. And she was injured. And she went, I'm on a lot of pain meds. I went, and there you go. Pain medication clogs us up. I should know. I've lived on and off with pain and morphine and things. I'm like, right. So basically right now you're just full of poop. And she's like, yeah, I haven't been for a few days. I was like, and there is your weight fluctuation. You're not moving as much. You're injured. You haven't gone over on your calories. And as soon as I just put it in black and white for her, she went, thanks so much. I feel so much better.
That's it.
That's it.
They always say when you go to a doctor, half of your things are gone the minute you go and speak to the doctor because all you want is that reassurance.
Yeah.
Is that reassurance given by somebody. And that's why I feel, we thrive better when we're together.
Yes, completely.
Yeah, so if you've got a group of women who are struggling with similar stuff and you're thriving off each other, isn't it a better world anyway?
Completely.
Joe, I'm going to ask you one more thing before we get into overthinking because you just said that's what we women are special. We love overthinking, aren't we? Yeah, we're so good at it. So you tackle that with jumping in.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's very important because as we said, reassure someone and it's all right. I'm here and let's just get back on track. We've spoken about all the mindset, weight loss and everything. Joe, where you are in your life right now, right? We've said the minute you walked in, you said, I am living up to 50. I'm going to get those lovely, beautiful 5 years out of my life. I wish you get many more. I wish you get many more. And the way you are, the world needs you anyway. So I don't think the world is going to let you go so quick. Anyway, are there moments where you feel, because this positivity, this mindset?
Of course. I call them the treatment gremlins. So a really important part is of my, anyone that's been on chemotherapy will know that it can physically ravage your body and mentally. I've gone through the physical. I've had one type of chemotherapy. I lost the ability to walk. I couldn't put my feet on the floor because the pain and the bone pain was so much. It actually cost me a lot of money in trainers because I could no longer wear heels. So now I have an avid trainer collection and I'm a nightmare. But I call them the treatment gremlins. And part of me overcoming that is, so I have treatment tomorrow. And I know that tomorrow is my day out. I will not be very good. And that's a result of mainly the antihistamines. I'm tired and I just need to rest. On Thursday, I will get up and the first thing I will do, all I do is brush my teeth. Don't care. I'm dirty. Don't care. Put on my leggings, my walking things, and I'm out the door. That 1 hour walk and that movement and that fresh air, it makes sure that I'm in a really good place physically, but I'm also in a really good place mentally. And I'm very, very fortunate. I live semi-rural. I live near the woods. And so I'll walk, I do on a good day, I might walk 6 kilometers. I never do more than 6. On a not so good day, it might be 4, but I'm still out and I'm still moving. It doesn't matter how I do it as long as I do it. And there's a bench, and this bench has an opening, and I just call it my magic bench. And the bench is where the sun comes up and the sun is there, and I say finding the light. And I will sit and I will meditate and I just listen to the nature, the goats behind me, the sheep, and that's really important. Some days I don't always get the opportunity to get out because I am quite tired or I'm busy with life. And those days, which I had one on Sunday, the gremlins got the better of me. I was tired and, sorry, excuse my headscarf.
Fine.
And, on those days I listen to my body, but I know it's not really me. It's not me. And I just say that the gremlins have got the better of me today, Mum. And she'll be like, okay, what do you need? I'm like, I just need to watch telly and I might cry. And because my mum stays with me at the moment, she's been such a great help. And, she's my right-hand woman now, Pat. And if I cry, she's there. Sometimes I may journal. I may write it down. I may watch something inspirational. I love a good podcast or, listening to inspirational people. And I allow myself that time to have a break. And I just know it's not really my main thoughts. It's just chemo exacerbates a lot of what we feel. I wish it exacerbated the happiness, but it exacerbates, I call them the dark thoughts. And the sadness can become quite reality. And I am aware of my situation and it's rubbish, but no point of being sad and dwelling on it and feeling sorry for myself is not going to make me enjoy life. I say every day I choose joy because joy and happiness and that positivity, that could give me another year.
And that's in your own hands.
And that's in my hands. And, the meditation, and I've worked with really good people that have helped me and taught me a lot of tools. And, by a simple meditation can change my mindset, just 5 or 10 minutes. And I've never been a woman to sit still and meditate. I remember years ago, I tried to do yoga and the yoga instructor went, relax. I am relaxing. And that was me.
Yeah.
So I've had to completely change who I am in the last 12 months. So, but I am human.
You are a lovely human. If I would ask you, sum yourself up in 5 words.
Ooh, tenacious.
I know.
Driven, independent, confident, loyal.
Beautiful. You forgot.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Very, very. Thank you for being here. Please share this story with a woman who needs to hear this. The woman who's battling something in life and who's giving up in life. There is no reason to give up because there's light after a dark tunnel and there's light every single day. It's up to us that we choose it. Thank you, Jo.
Thank you so much.
Please follow Jo because if you're not following her, I think we're missing out a lot in life. Please follow her Instagram handle, which is in bio. Thank you.